people were always coming to me, especially around social media things and around their business, and things weren't working or they weren't growing like they thought, or asking me for like strategy. And I'd be working with them and I'm like, man, this is not a strategy problem. This is a belief in yourself problem. This is a messaging problem. It's deeper than just, what's trending right now, or how long should my reels be, or how do I get people on my email list? I'm like, that's not the problem.
Welcome to How to Trust Yourself, the podcast for anyone who's done with the endless second guessing and ready to tune in to your inner guidance. I'm Anna Holtzman, and I get that feeling of trudging through life like you're wading through mud, trying to figure out which way to go. In my 20s, I spent more time asking what should I do with my life than writing about crushes or bad dates in my journal. I've tried on a lot of answers: architecture, publishing, editing reality TV for a decade, and finally landing on therapy and coaching, helping people like you connect with your purpose. But here's the thing I've learned through all those twists and turns. Trusting yourself is the key to moving forward, even when the path feels messy. So if you're ready to stop doubting yourself and start listening to your gut, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Welcome back, dear listener. What if the key to building a successful business wasn't grinding harder, but softening? In today's episode, I'm talking with Molly Balint, founder of the Soft Business Movement, business mentor, and longtime voice in the online space. Molly helps women uncover their meaningful work and build businesses that support their energy, their life, and their values without sacrificing their sensitivity or burning out. Before launching her mentorship work, Molly spent nearly 2 decades in the online world as a blogger, photographer, and a social media strategist for the world's largest parenting media brand. Her own journey from homeschooling mom of 4 to creative entrepreneur gives her a grounded, deeply human perspective on what it really means to lead, build, and grow in a way that honors your pace and your purpose. In this conversation, we talk about what it means to run a soft business and why soft doesn't mean weak, the most common blocks that keep creative women from claiming their work, and how to navigate seasons of expansion without losing yourself in the process. If you're craving a gentler way to grow or wondering if it's possible to build something meaningful without hardening yourself against the world, this one's for you. Let's dive in. Molly, welcome, and thank you so much for making the time to do this during the hot months of the summer. This probably will air in the fall, but we're recording in the summer. I found out about your work not that long ago, and I instantly became a big fan, super interested to learn more. So I can't wait to do that today. And thanks for coming on the podcast.
Of course. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. Yes, it is summer when we're recording, and it's like classic Maryland, hot, humid, sticky.
Yeah, I feel like and I'm in Queens, New York. It's super humid here, and I feel like it's soft summer. Everything about it, my brain is soft, my vision is soft.
Like, we're all melting.
The ice cream in here is soft. For those who have not yet had the pleasure of discovering you and your work and what you do, could you share what you do and who your work is for?
Yeah, absolutely. I am a business coach and an Instagram strategist and a speaker. And I founded something about 2 years ago. I mean, I've been in business for quite a while, but about 2 years ago, founded something called the Soft Business Movement, and it's really been my own like personal journey in my own business, but also has resonated with so many women. And I do like, I don't put anything super specific around it as much as it's just really that I work with women who oftentimes are creative and but just really have a desire to create a business that feels like it's purposeful and impactful, and profitable, but also just is like grounded in something, deeper. But also, I find that these women are drawn to the soft business movement because they are sort of over the hustle and the grind, and they want to do it differently. Either they've been in it or they're currently in it or they've experienced it and they just know that they want to do something different. So that's really kind of the type of people and the women that I work with that come into my community, which is amazing, and the types of businesses that they're building.
I love how even the name soft business embodies what it's all about. Like it's not doing a lot of work to over explain itself. You kind of
Mhm.
know, or I felt I knew just on an embodied level what this meant just by soft business. Like instantly I get it on a feeling level and
Yeah.
I want in.
I had somebody who joined one of my programs once, and she's like, I just saw the word soft and I knew that that's what I wanted. I don't know much about anything else, but I'm here for whatever that is.
Yeah, exactly. Um, Now I'd love to hear you share however much or little you'd like to share today about how you got here. I know you've had similar I call myself the queen of pivots. I've had so many seemingly completely different careers, but everything leads into the next thing.
Mhm.
And I'd love to have you share with listeners what path led you here.
Yeah, I'd love to share. I mean, I went to school to be a teacher. I was an elementary school teacher until I had kids. I loved it. I felt like I wanted to be a teacher when I was in 3rd grade, and I never wavered. Like, that was the thing I knew I was supposed to do. But then I had children, and I still feel like I'm a teacher, just in a different form, a pivot. But I really started in the online world like 20 some years ago when blogging was just becoming a thing. And I was just really using it as a place to write. And at the time, my kids were little. We lived on a farm. I still live on a farm, but I was homeschooling, and like it was very creative. Like I was in this community where we were like, I was making pottery and sewing and like homeschooling my kids, and it was just amazing. And that opened the doors to some opportunities. And I started to, on the side, I started working for one of the world's largest global parenting sites as a writer. And I was doing writing for them. And eventually, sort of through another series of pivots, started managing their social media. And so I was doing that. And at the same time, I was I still had this desire to do my own thing. And I really had a heart for like small business, local businesses. Some of my family members are in the farming community, so I was really like I had a heart for them. And I really was seeing through my work the power of social media and how it could really like connect people and really could broaden the reach of your work and your business and that sort of thing and build community. And so I was doing that, and I was also sort of building my own thing on the side. And I tell this story a lot because I think it kind of, in a way, was like, I mean, I think the journey to soft has been, I mean, it definitely has. It's been a series of lots of things. But I look back and remember like this moment where I was in the car driving my kids to a story hour at the library. And I remember that I was, like you drive one handed, and I was reaching back and I was like giving the baby a bottle in her car seat. I had my like one headphone in, like we still were like the wired headphones. And I was on a call with the company I was working for that I was supposed to be on, sort of pretending I was at my desk, driving my kids to the library for story hour. And I remember thinking like, this is supposed to be it. This is like the mom who has it all, who's balancing it all, who's doing all the things. Like, look at me. Like, I can be on a work call and giving the baby a bottle and taking the kids to story hour. but it wasn't like I was doing nothing well. Like I had I was multitasking in so many things that I was not doing any of them well. I was carrying around a lot of guilt for the fact that I felt like I was not doing any of the things well. I felt like I wasn't homeschooling well. I felt like I wasn't doing my job well. Like everything felt like I was getting by the skin of my teeth.
Yeah.
And but I felt like this like picture of balancing it all, especially as moms, is like this thing we sort of uphold. And so I feel like that story, like when I think about it, that's like one of those moments in my mind where I really like it's like this is not it. This is not the way it should be. And but it was not necessarily like didn't change anything, I would say. Like I still felt a little trapped in the world I had created for myself. And I was building my business on the side, and it was one of those things where um like I kept saying like one of these years I'm going to quit, and not what I was building, but like quit my like corporate social
Right.
media job. This is the year I'm going to quit and I'm going to go out on my own. And I would say that I found an old journal. I think I found 7 years of
Wow.
proof of me saying like, this is the year.
Wow.
And even my kids were old enough at that point to be like, Mom, is this the year you don't, they knew I didn't love it. Um, and really in reality, what was happening behind the scenes was that I was carrying around a lot of junk and a lot of stories that I was believing about myself. And while I was building this thing on the side and it was going okay, it was going slowly, but it was going okay. Like I was carrying around a lot of stories about whether or not I was deserving of having my own business, whether I was deserving of being someone who was like the face, out front of her business. I was really good at making everybody else look good. I was really good at my job and making them look great. I was great at being like the behind the scenes person, even though I had this tension of like, I feel called to something big. Like I feel like there's something big I can do and that I want to do. And like I wanted to be out front, but I was just like, even though I felt that way, I just couldn't.
Yeah.
And I mean, not to like just jump right into it, but like a lot of those stories, if I'm totally honest, were around like my weight and, feeling like I needed to get that together. Like I needed to be skinnier, look a certain way, or have some kind of like it factor in order to be, worthy of stepping out and being in the front of my business. Like that was like a big story I was carrying around. It wasn't the only one, but it was a big one. And so I feel like a lot of that, like, recognition of those things that I was carrying around with me were really the things that I needed to happen in order for me to be like, that is not true.
Mm.
That is not the truth. What is actually true is you right now, exactly as you are worthy of whatever the business is, whatever the dream is. It doesn't even have to be business. Like whatever it is, you are worthy of that. And I think like the slowly like chipping away at that, it wasn't like, oh, it's gone. Like I still struggle with that story. Like I still have to like fight that story. And but now I like see it for the lie that it is, now, and I can like stop it in its tracks a lot more easily. But I feel like the chipping away at that story was the thing that allowed me to fully step into my business. And then my business took off. Like it was like when I was like, yes, like I own this. I feel grounded in this. I understand why I'm doing this at a deeper level beyond just like, oh, I want to help people. Like I knew that I didn't want anyone else to be feeling the things that I was feeling, even if we're talking about Instagram strategy or we're talking about their business, like whatever. I started to feel like, yes, like I can be the face of my business. I can step out front. I can be a leader. I can share my thoughts and be different than what I see everyone else doing and bring what I think is true and healthy and valuable to the world. And that was like the shift for me. That was the shift to a softer business. That was the shift to defining it. Um, I'd always felt like I did business differently because I really valued my offline life. I didn't tell people to do more. I simplified as much as I could, but I was able to like put words around it. And like, and then my business took off. Like it was literally like ripping, I don't know what, it like the football team blasting out of the poster, and they run onto the
Yeah.
field. Like it was just that kind of, I think my people in my community saw it too, and it made them get on board even more. So that's kind of the very long story of sort of how I got here with
This
stuff
is
in between.
This is such a powerful story. And I know I'm, resonating with different parts of it and curious to know more about different parts. I just know that listeners will be too. And the one of the things that really struck me is you started off by saying you were going to talk about your journey to soft. And what landed for me, and I mean, tell me if you experience it differently, but it struck me that the journey to soft was not necessarily a soft journey. Like it was a
No.
journey of confronting very difficult stories and having to work through them. It's a journey of like it took 7 years. It wasn't
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, now it's just like easy peasy.
Mhm.
Um is like is that something you see with folks you work with, that like there is a soft business,
Mhm.
a soft life, a soft way of being that's possible, and there's some pretty, I don't know, intense work to getting
Yeah.
there?
I think that has been the one. I think, yes, that's totally accurate in terms of it has been a journey. And I feel like even like the fact that it took me 7 years to walk away from my corporate job and stable monthly income and all those kinds of things, like, I think there's so many wonderful stories of people who are like, "I just, jumped out of the plane," or whatever, not build the plane on the way down, whatever that story is.
Yeah.
Like the people who are just like, "I just left it all and I figured it out." And I'm like, "Well, I need to pay for bills and we have a family and my husband's, was working in ag industry and it doesn't make a ton of money." And like, it was like, we needed the money. Like I couldn't do some crazy, brave, risky thing. Like I, I had to be slow and careful. And granted, I probably could have done it a few years before I did, but like, not all of us have to do some like big, bold, like, jump out of the plane kind of moves. Like it can be a slow and steady journey. And I think sometimes those are like the most sustainable. And I think sometimes those are the ones that have the most like long lasting impact, the ones that we're just really like doing the work. But I would say like the thing about a soft business, I think that is hard is that it requires some difficult work that it's easy to skip over. Like,
Yeah.
I really believe that, and this is like a soapbox for me. Like, I talk about this all the time. I think, and this is, part of why I became so passionate about it too, is because I think people were always coming to me, especially around social media things and around their business, and things weren't working or they weren't growing like they thought, or asking me for like strategy. And I'd be working with them and I'm like, man, this is not a strategy problem. This is a belief in yourself problem. This is a messaging problem. This is such a like, it's deeper than just, what's trending right now, or how long should my reels be, or, how do I get people on my email list? I'm like, that's not the problem. It's that like rewinding. So for me, because of that like important, often difficult work, often very reflective, often takes time work. That is what has allowed me to have a soft business because I am more grounded in myself. I am more grounded in why this is important to me. I'm more grounded in my message and what I want other people to know. And so it makes showing up so much easier. It makes understanding what I need to create or what I need to let go of easier, So
Yeah.
it's like that hard work that we want to skip. Like we want to talk about what should our brand colors be and how do I do my website, and like that's fun. I love that stuff. Like what are my fonts? Give me some fonts and I'm going to be happy. But like we have to rewind and we have to do the hard work first. So I see a lot of women come to me like they've been in business for 10 years and they're like, this is not working, like help. Or some women see it and they're like, I'm starting out and I want to start out the right way, you know? So
Yeah.
I think that's really the thing that's the hard part of a soft business, is that it does require that like deeper work, but the trickle effect of that work and the way it spreads throughout every piece of your business and your strategy and your life is so important.
A quick pause here because I want to invite you into something that I think could shift the way you feel about showing up. If you're a sensitive creative or entrepreneur, and the idea of being really seen and heard brings up fear, resistance, or that, oh no, not me feeling, you are in good company. My free visibility workshop, Let Yourself Be Seen, is all about making visibility feel safe to your nervous system and true to you. We'll explore how to work with fear as a doorway into more authentic self expression so you can share the work that matters most to you without pushing, pretending, or burning out. You can save your spot or catch the replay at annaholtzman.com/be seen. Okay, let's get back to the conversation. I have a question for this is going to be largely for the many coaches who are listening to
Yeah.
this. But it's also it's really for anyone. You know, you spoke about the stories that were standing in the way for you. And, you know, at the root of them, they're all stories about self-worth. And we've all
Hmm.
got stories about self-worth. And I love that you said this is not a strategy problem. It's a belief in yourself problem. I think that's true for all of us. And yet none of us start off at the place of like, I think I have a belief in myself
Yeah,
problem. Let's
exactly.
dive into this. Like,
Yeah.
no, all of us are like, well, I can't leave my job because of practical reasons, which are very, very
Hmm.
real. That's not to
Yes.
discount them. And they can, you know, serve to protect us from delving into our self-worth stuff.
Yeah.
So how do you bring folks into the work that you do, knowing that, you know, if you just stand on a podium and say, you have self-worth issues and let's
You
work
are
on them
enough. Now go.
like
Yeah.
yeah, how do you lead people there when they're starting, you know, when we all start from the place of like, I need a better strategy.
Yeah. I think like I feel like I can sort of read people well. So I think sometimes when I'm working with people, I have a sense of like, are they ready for this? Like, can we go here together? Like, I do think there's some of that going on. But I will say too, two things. One, I think that I am willing to be vulnerable first. Like I often tell people like I'll go first, and you know, and because I know it will sort of help other people to also be vulnerable or to feel seen. And I'm not talking like I'm not like sobbing in my stories or you know things like
Yeah.
that, but just you know bringing up my weight like hello vulnerable like
Yeah.
but at the same time like I know if I'm willing to tell my story and be honest about my story, other people feel seen in it, or they're like, well, that's my story too, or they have something very similar. And so I feel like my role, even as a coach, is that, especially teaching and teaching in a group, like I will. I'll share like I'll share honestly and I'll share from my heart and I feel like that gives people the freedom to also be honest and also be real. And even if people don't participate, I know that they're listening and maybe they're not ready in that moment, or maybe that's not their personality to just like also respond with vulnerability. And that's totally fine. So I feel like for me, that's a piece of it is just that like willingness for me to be vulnerable. Um, but I also feel like a lot of people kind of know, like, when they feel like it's not working and they feel like they've tried everything or they're doing all the right things or they're following all the advice of all the experts and it's still not working, I think they kind of know like I know that there's things that I'm doing to hold myself back, or I know that something is like there is some wall there between me and where I want to be, and they're kind of willing to explore what that is.
It's so true. I mean, we feel that when we are locked in inner tension with ourselves. I mean, we feel it in our body. We feel
Mhm.
like it's like my neck's all tight.
Oh,
There's something going on there. And this leads actually into the next question I want to ask. So, I began my coaching work working in the realm of chronic pain recovery, like
mm,
helping folks recover from stress related chronic symptoms. And so I started to notice that a lot of the people who come to me, they are people who want to get more serious about their creative practice, who want to turn their creativity into a business, who want to grow the business that they already have,
mhm,
and they are sensitive people like I am, that's why
mhm.
we're drawn together. And
Yeah.
so they've experienced burnout or, having chronic symptoms due to stress, due to overworking themselves. And so there's like a simultaneously a yearning to, let their talents blossom and share them with
Mhm,
the world, but then also a fear that if I allow my passion to expand and if I pursue it, like the same old patterns are going to happen. I'm going to crash and burn. What's an image or like what's a picture of how things could actually go differently from that? What does a
mhm.
soft business actually look and feel like? And maybe you'll describe what your business currently looks and feels like for you.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great question, and honestly, like, I again, the journey for me has even been like I would say in the last year and a half, I really feel like I kind of burned my business to the ground because part
Mm,
of the journey for me has also been realizing that I was building the business that I thought I should be building
mm,
because this is what everyone else who is like me offers. This is what they have. These are the things that they do. And so I was like, well, then I guess that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to have a group coaching program and I'm supposed to offer one-on-ones. And it was just all of these things that were the shoulds in my business. And my therapist always says, if you say should, it's someone else's voice, not your own. So I love that. I'm always like, yes, because I hear that a lot. I should be doing this. I should be doing that.
mm,
And I was like, I'm doing all these things that are like draining me. Like I was a couple years ago, I had built this business that was making a lot of money and doing well, but, like, I was getting to Friday afternoon, and I was calling my husband in tears, and I was like, "Nothing is wrong. I am just absolutely, like, empty." Like, I had taught so many things. I was creating so many things from scratch. I was serving so many people that I was, like, the most emptiest cup of all at the end of the week, and the only thing I had left was, like, complete like, I just needed to cry to somebody.
yeah.
And I like I stopped doing all the things that were absolutely draining me. It was scary as heck because I had, this very successful, stable, felt good business that felt, nice and comfortable. And that's not necessarily the case when you get rid of all the things. But I slowly started building back what felt good for me and what I enjoy doing. And in the process, I'm serving my people so much better. Like I am a community girl. Like I love community. I love having a community and a group of women that I'm like, you're my people. Like I can just pour all of my love and energy and teaching and anything I think of that I think is cool that I want them to learn. Like that is me. And so I got rid of all these things that weren't serving me, but in the process of that, like not only is it serving me and my heart and my burnout and my calendar, like I realized I don't like a full calendar. Like I feel like we, you know how people will like post in their Instagram stories and they're like, today I have a call at 10 and then I have this at 12 and we like glorify that. And I'm like, I like it when I want that page to be empty.
Yeah.
Like I don't want anything on my calendar. Um, and that was a huge thing for me. I'm like, wow, success for me is like a spacious calendar. It's not like this beautiful color coded booked out calendar. Like, no, that is not it for me.
Yeah.
So in the process of like building a business that felt good to me, that I felt that allowed me to lean into what I was good at, also meant I'm like showing up for my people with the best version of me versus like the tired, exhausted, I'm trying to hang on by a thread here to get through this last call of the week kind of me. So it's like twofold in that, like, and to me, that is like softness because that is that like flexibility and that is that sort of like fluidity of a soft business that you allow yourself to make those changes and you allow yourself to lean into the parts that feel good and you know what feels good to you and you make that like brave decision to let go of the things that don't. So for me that's like a big part of it too, and in the process you're building a business that serves people better.
Are there some like very common myths or stories that you find like the women in your community have about why a soft business won't work?
Yeah, I think one thing that I often hear people say is I think people often think that a soft business is like doing less or caring less about what you're
Mm,
building. And I think for I mean, I am very driven. I love my job. I love to work at it. I have to be careful how much I
yeah,
work at it because I would do it all the time. Um, so I feel like oftentimes people think, oh, it just means like we're not as we love our offline life so much that we don't really spend a lot of time on our business. And like that is not it. It is that like holding things that are dear to us in our hands, but knowing that both are valuable and not sacrificing ourselves for the sake of building this thing that we want. Like it's really different. So I feel like a lot of people who come to me are like kind of like how I felt. Like I felt like I built this business that I was stuck in
yeah,
and feeling very much like, oh, I don't know if I can let go of it, maybe for financial reasons, or they feel like they have people they're going to disappoint if they cancel or get rid of something. So I feel like that's a big one. And I think a lot of people come to me and they're like, that's for someday. Like right now, I need to grind
yes,
because I want to have a soft business someday. And I think that, like, if we're always working in this season where oh, there's light at the end of the tunnel. Like I absolutely say that to that's something that I have to be really careful with. Like if I just get through this, then things will slow down. Or after this busy time, whatever. Or if I work really hard for a little bit, there's light at the end of the tunnel because then everything will be clicking and I'll have all the programs established and all the moving parts. And then I can just like have a soft business.
yeah,
But I think it's really important that we have to like now be building the business that we want in 5 years because there
yeah,
will always be something. Like there will always be interruption and chaos and changed ideas and things that fail. And so we have to learn to like, I do grind. Like there are seasons where I grind because I need to get something out into the world and it's hard,
yeah,
but I hustle with purpose and I hustle with an end date, like I know that this is just for now.
yeah.
So I think too, like just being careful of that kind of talk and that kind of vision and that sort of like, that's for me someday, um, is something else that I think is sort of a myth that I see a lot of people saying to themselves. Yeah.
I can hear all like feel like I can just hear a lot of listeners saying like, "Oh man, that's totally where I am." Like I'm in that place in the beginning of the journey to soft that you described. Like whatever it is that I have going now, like I just know that I need to burn it to the ground or it needs to
Mhm.
just totally unspool so that something new can emerge that feels more right for me at this stage in my life, and maybe would have always felt more right to me. Um, you've been through this process yourself. You've helped so many others through this process. How, like, what is the process or the supports or whatever that would help someone feel safe enough to let it all unravel? And then, like, what is the process of, like, letting that new thing emerge or figuring out what it should look like?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that's a really good question, because I think that, well, let me tell you what I learned in the process. I love the visual of unspooling. That's beautiful. Um, I had this, and I have the best therapist. So a lot of my journey has been fueled by a wonderful therapist. um, but
We
I was
all need
telling,
someone to hold us, right,
I
through this
know, right?
process. Yeah.
Yes. And she always says, like, therapy isn't just for hard seasons. It's just for, like, living a good life, like, you don't have to be going through crisis to talk to a therapist. Um, but I was telling her about, like, I was in the midst of what I call, like, the messy middle. Like, I was in the messy middle of my business, and I told her, I was like, Emily, I just have this vision. Like, there's actually this, like, I live on a I live on a farm, and we're blessed to have a lot of acres, and I can even see out my window. Like, there's a stream, like, right over the hill. And I just had this vision in my head of myself, like, when you cross a stream and there's, like, rocks to step on, so you're kind of, like, figuring out your path across the stream, and you're choosing your rocks, making sure they're stable, but they're a little slippery. And I was telling her, I said, that's what I feel like I'm in right now. Like, I feel like I'm walking across the stream. I said, I can see the other side. Like, I can see the other side of the stream. I can see the bank. I can see the level ground. I just need to get there. And she said to me, she's like, what if you're supposed to just be in the stream? Like, what if you are supposed to just, like, be a witness to where you are right now? And I thought that was such a good wisdom for me, because I really was, again, like, keep your eye on the prize, like, stay focused on where you're going and how great it's going to be when you get there. And that just completely, like, shifted my perspective, because I was like, okay, I am in the mess, and it feels a little scary. It feels chaotic, but I needed to just, like, be there and figure out, like, what did I need to learn from it? Where was I going to put my feet? Which rocks was I going to choose? And so I think, like, part of it is not it's not like the just grit your teeth and squint your eyes and get through it kind of approach. It really is just allowing yourself to be in it, because I think, and being aware of it, because I think when we do that, we're able to give ourselves a lot more grace for what it is. And I think we give ourselves grace for, like, missteps, and for, maybe not doing something we thought we should have done, or, we don't have time for something. I just think, like, when we're present in the mess of it, then we are able to just be so much nicer to ourselves in the midst of that, and not beating ourselves up over a missed post, or a email we didn't send, or, saying to someone we're going to do something and then we don't. So to me, I think that's part of it. I don't think that there is, like, a checklist of have these, like, three things in order, and then you can, start unwinding. Like, I do. For me, it was like, okay, I know I'm supposed to end this membership that I have. And then I was like, okay, for about 2 months, I stewed on it. And as soon as I sent the email to close the doors, it was the best feeling ever. And I was like, that was the right decision.
Yeah.
Yes, it's scary, but it was like, I knew that that was the right thing to do. I sent an email to all my clients, and I was like, I'm not doing one-on-one sessions anymore. And as soon as the last one was on my calendar, I was like, hallelujah. And I started building the thing that I knew I wanted to build next. And it was amazing, and it flowed, and I had the space and the creativity. My mind was in a place where I could create it. So I think there is, even though I'm not the best example, because it took me like 7 years to walk away from the job that was draining me,
Which I think
There is
actually does make you the best example because that's relatable.
yeah. In this, it was kind of a like, that's the thing. Like, there's so much we already know. Like, trusting our gut is so important. Like, we know the things that we need to let go of. We know. And sometimes you just have to send the email to all the people and you have to say the doors are closing and you just have to trust that it is giving you the space to create the thing next that you're supposed to create.
Thank you so, so much for sharing this story with me, with listeners. I've heard you on other podcasts. I was like listening to other interviews you've done, and I was attracted to your work, what you're about, and also this story of like rebirthing your business, partly because I'm in the messy middle of like my own slippery rock,
Yeah.
part of the journey too. So I mentioned I had worked in the chronic pain niche for about 5 years, which is incredibly meaningful work to me. And I
Mm.
had like courses, group programs, all this stuff going on. And like you described, I was like, all right, I'm ready to like scale this and grow this bigger. And it just like felt like I was trying to squeeze water from a rock, like just
Yeah.
that internal tension. I could just feel it. Um, and I went through and I'm still going through that process of sort of, yeah, burning it to the ground
Mm-hmm.
so that something new can be birthed. And I find like as I'm going over those slippery rocks, the thing that I need to like allow me to do it, because it's scary
Yeah.
at every step of the way, like whenever I feel like I'm slipping off a rock, my first thought is like, oh, I need a solution. I need a solution. I need to solve this. And what I learn over and over again every single time is like, there isn't necessarily a solution. What I need is connection. I need a
Mm-hmm.
conversation. I need to like connect with a peer or my coach or like
Mm-hmm.
whoever, like just feeling connected to someone in the messiness of the human
Mm-hmm.
experience.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what would you say like steadies you when you're on that slippery rock?
Yeah, I think that's so true. I think I actually, ironically, I was just kind of talking about this in my stories this morning because I was sharing some really good things that happened this week. But then I was like, it's also been like a really hard week. Like there's just like other stresses going on, and I have had some moments where I was scrolling Instagram in my heart, feeling like everyone else has it great right now, and I felt like I'm the only one, you
Right.
know.
Relatable.
And then, I had a call with like this little mini mastermind. We meet like every other month and people were sharing and I was like, man, everyone has such similar hard. Like you are not the only one. And so many people, especially right now, are feeling that. So I think community more than ever helps because the messy middle feels very lonely
Yeah.
and it feels like you are the only one going through it. It can feel like you're behind. It can feel like everyone else has it figured out and you're running out of time. I think that's a big one for me is
Yeah.
like I'm running out of time. I don't know why I feel that way, maybe because of my age, I don't know. Um so I feel like community for sure is so important. Um and like just I don't know, I'm a talker, so like the ability for me to just talk it out with somebody is really really helpful. Um, so I do think like that is so valuable to this this time and this messy middle part because there is so much not aloneness in building a business and there is so much that everyone is experiencing that I think we don't realize when we're in the thick of the hard parts.
Yeah, I so agree with what you're saying. And it's I think what's interesting to me about I do work one-on-one with people, and I hear over and over again from individuals in an individual session, I feel like I'm different from everyone. I feel like
Yeah.
I'm alone in this experience. And I'm like, the cool thing about getting to be in my seat and have these conversations with a range of different people is that I get to learn none of us are alone in feeling alone. Like
Yeah.
that is oddly something that is
Mhm.
common to all of us.
Mhm. I think too, the other thing I was going to say about sort of this, like what helps, I think is action. Like
Yeah.
even if it's tiny, like I can sit back and try to perfect every piece, and I can sit back and try to make sure like that I think of everything and do I have all the parts in place. But really, it's the moments where I'm like, okay, let's just put this out there and see what happens. And then I will adjust or make changes or whatever. So I think like sometimes the thing that helps us move through this time, 1000% community, 1000% feeling like you're not alone. But sometimes I think too, another piece of that is just like, just do something. Try something,
Yeah.
test something, take some little action because it brings so much clarity that we wouldn't get just from like trying to plan it all out and imagine what would it be like and how will people respond and what should be included and all that kind of stuff. Like just do something because I think that brings like clarity, momentum to that sort of mess and unknown.
Yeah. The next thing I want to ask you about is like after burning it all down and then like letting this new thing emerge, what is the thing that lights you up? And like for me, I'll just share in my rebirthing of my business, I realized that what I actually was already doing with the folks I was working with, like it would start with the chronic pain recovery, but then once that fell away or ceased being, the primary issue, it was like I want to start a business.
Mhm.
I want to publish this book. I want to like grow this thing that I've been working on the side. And I just love, I just love being side by side with that person
Yeah.
who you can just see like it's all there. It's
Mhm.
all there and it's just like let me help take this little piece of string off your wings so you
Yeah.
realize that you can already fly. What is the thing that currently lights you up? Like what is the main thing that you're doing in your business
Yeah.
now?
I mean, definitely community, like I said, like, I love a group, like, I like to sort of hunker down with my people, like, that is sort of what my personality is, and I love serving them. I will say, though, I think the thing that I love is I love to reflect someone's, like, greatness and brilliance and what makes them amazing back to them so that they can also see it, because I think I don't know, like, I can see that moment when I'm talking with somebody, like, I can just feel it, I can witness it, like, I see that, like, click, and I'm like, "That's the thing." Like, that is the thing, that is the message, that is you at your you realist version of you. This is the thing that you should be doing. Like, I feel the friction, and I can sense the friction, and I can sense the, like, "This is you, like, this is you lit up." And so I think being able to, like, be a witness to that and then reflect it back to people and give them permission to do that thing or to lean into that thing or to be like, yes, that is your message. That can be your message because you're so passionate about that thing. To me, like everything else aside, all of the products and offers and classes and teaching, I love to teach. But that to me is like, that's what I love.
Yeah. I got like a little chill just hearing you and like taking in the energy of what you were
Yeah.
saying. Um I, are there any stories that you would be able to or would want to share about like what happens with folks when they have this brilliance reflected back to
Mhm.
them, like what shifts and changes you've seen?
Yeah. I think that um one, I think like in private, like a lot of times this happens like in small groups where I'm teaching and we're working through like exercises and stuff together as a group and it's kind of intimate and special. Um so I think like there's definitely that like light up moment of where suddenly when they allow themselves to think about this thing that actually is the thing that they're supposed to be doing and then they give themselves permission to actually start thinking about what that might be, it's like the creativity and the vision and the ideas just like flow. So I think that that is a big thing that I witness. But also, I see people like just starting to show up in their business in a way that's very much them. Like whether it's showing their face more, whether it is showing more of their life outside of just their art or their work or the things that they're selling or whatever it might be, like just kind of it's just this ability to sort of be you and be like the real you in everything that you put out. And it doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, when you figure this out for your business, now you have to share your whole life. Like that's not
Right.
what I'm saying, but it is just this like you don't have to show up with a mask on of being who you think people want you to be. It's just this like this is me. This is what's important to me. This is what I value. This is why this is part of my business. So, I think it's like both that like vision and the creativity that's kind of unleashed
Yeah.
and the ideas that are unleashed and the joy and excitement from like what if this is the thing, like that's so exciting. And then it's just the like settling into like their business and feeling more grounded in who they are and being able to show up as themselves.
I just felt like this just
Yeah.
relaxation listening to that, and that idea about masking. Like masking takes so much energy and tension, whether we realize it in the moment or not, but it's exhausting. And
Mhm.
when we're going through life or building a business or, doing whatever in a way where we're masking, it's just not very sustainable. We're going to
Mhm.
crash and burn at some point.
Mhm. Yeah, I think oftentimes the people who f- feel exhausted by their business or even I would say especially because I work with a lot of people on Instagram. Most of the people I work with, that's a vehicle for building their business.
Yeah.
And especially the people who feel, I think, exhausted by Instagram, I think it is because they have to like they're looking at everything on Instagram that's doing well. They're looking at other people in their niche or their industry and what they're doing, and they feel exhausted by the idea of having to show up that way. And
Right.
so
Yeah.
that is exhausting. And it's so easy to do. I mean, I scroll, I think I follow two people who do what I do and I have them both muted. It's just like one of
Yeah.
those things where if they knew I didn't follow them, it would be awkward. So I follow them, but I have them muted so I don't see their content because it gets in my head. Like I don't follow people who do what I do because if I watch their stuff, I have to watch that I'll be like, oh, I should be making videos like that, or I should be creating this. So I think the like it is like you said, it is exhausting that every time you show up, you're trying to show up in this person that isn't you or style that isn't you or,
Yeah.
so I think that is what makes a lot of the burnout happen. I think that's what makes it feel exhausting and draining is like you just have you can't be yourself. You're trying to be what you see other people are doing and that is so exhausting.
Yeah. Absolutely. Um, we are getting to that point where we're going to wind down with the final three questions that I love to
Yeah.
ask every guest. And you've really gone into this one already, but I'm just going to ask it again and see what comes out in this moment, which is what if there is a soapbox message that's infused into who you are at this stage of your life, your business, and everything that you teach and put out there, what would that soapbox message be?
Hmm. I have two soapboxes.
Love it.
I have a I have a foot on each one. The first one I would say is that unless you are clear on your message, unless you are clear on your what you value, what your business values, what's important to you, and you can articulate it, you will never stand out in a noisy online world. Like you really need to understand your message and what makes you unique and special so that other people know that too. Like I think that is so important. So I think when people are struggling and they're looking for strategies to fix it, it's often just a simple messaging problem. That's number one. And the second one, obviously, you probably already know this one, but it's just that you are worthy right now, exactly as you are. If you changed absolutely nothing about yourself, you are worthy of being in the front of your business. You are worthy of coming out of the shadows of your business. You are worthy to be like front and center, thought leader, lover of people, community builder, creative, whatever it might be, exactly as you are right now.
Amazing. I feel like that message, like, listeners should make what you just said into a clip and just play it to themselves on repeat. I think we all need to
Yeah.
hear that message over and over
Mhm.
and over again because um, the
It's
stresses of life
constant.
pull us out of it.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
For the person who's listening and they're inspired by what you're sharing, they're like, seeing this vision of a soft business for themselves, but they also, feel fearful like, oh my gosh, do I have to walk on those slippery rocks? I don't know if that's really for me. I don't even know where to start. What words of encouragement do you have to the overwhelmed listener?
I would say it is like allow yourself to be in the messy middle. I think that that you have plenty of time. Allow yourself to be there and like pay attention to what you're supposed to learn in the messy middle and just give yourself tons and tons of grace because I think that we tend to be so hard on ourselves when we're in that place because we think we should have it all together and have it all figured out. And there's so much value by going through that that you never would have gotten had you just jumped right over it or skipped over it or not even like stepped into the stream to begin with.
Yes. The messy middle is the learning ground. It's
Mhm.
school.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And finally, where can people find you? How can they work with you? Give us all the stuff.
Yeah, thank you. I have a ton of like little classes and courses that you can pick and choose from as sort of like a if you want to test the waters a little bit, but everything I teach has soft business at its core. I mean that philosophy, that approach, everything. If you want to be in my community, it's Soft Business Club. And that is like those are my people. That is the place where I love to be and where I hang out. And who knows, by fall when this comes out, there might be something else.
Yeah.
It's the beauty of soft and the pivot. I don't know what it is yet, but I know something's coming. I'm still trying to figure that out. But I would say for sure, courses, Soft Business Club. I have a free group called Prep School that people can join as well. It's a great community. And yeah, and Instagram. My DMs are always open.
Awesome. I love your names for things. They're so great. Prep school.
Thank you.
It's like it is what it says it is, and it's cute too.
Thank you.
Molly, thanks so much for taking the time to hang out with me, with these listeners, for sharing vulnerably, openly, and in an inspiring way from your own experience. I just appreciate it so much. And I look forward to continuing to following along with what you're doing.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please do me a favor. Hit that follow button so you don't miss a thing and leave a rating or review. It helps more people find this show, and honestly, it makes my day. And if you're looking for more ways to trust yourself and start listening to that gut instinct of yours, come hang out with me on Instagram at Anna_Holtzman. Let's keep the conversation going. Thanks so much for listening, and until next time, trust yourself. You've got this.